I want to thank you for being here for this weekend devotional. I have thought a great deal this week about these thoughts of being pleasing to God, the things that we do, who we are to be. And I began looking at this idea of a sweet aroma. And I won't get into that too much, but I want us to start looking, or I want us to look at this, I thought, an idea of what it means to sacrifice. If we look at Psalms, the 51st chapter, and starting verse 13, he says, then I will teach transgressors your ways, and sinners will return to you. Deliver me from blood guiltness, O God of my salvation, and my tongue will sing aloud of your righteousness. O Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. For you will not delight in sacrifices, or I would give it. You will not be pleased with a burnt offering. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. O God, you will not despise. And sometimes we read that and it's difficult, I guess, in our language or in our culture to understand what he's saying. But he's simply saying that these sacrifices that they were offering as blood sacrifices were unfit. Not because the animal was unfit or because the sacrifice was not something that God wanted, but because they had not given themselves. He said that sacrifice of God is a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. Oh God, you will not despise that one who is willing to look and realize in humility how unworthy and how undeserving they are. And began to look at those things that God will expects. You notice he says at the first, he said, then I will teach transgressors your ways and sinners will return to you. This idea of offering that to God, to teach others, to show others. As I thought about those things, over in Hebrews, the 13th chapter, the writer puts this before us. He says, so Jesus suffered outside the gate in order to sanctify the people through his own blood. In other words, he died in a place of sorrow. He died in a place that was shameful. He died in a shameful manner. He said, therefore, let us go to him outside the camp and bear the reproach he endured, or this idea of living within the world. He said, for here we have no lasting city, but we seek that city that is to come. We seek that eternity with God. But we live in a world that is not ours. We live in a country that is not ours. We are those who are wanderers, so to speak, or sojourners, because we have no lasting city. He says, through him, then let us continue to offer up sacrifices of praise to God. That is the fruit of lips that acknowledge his name. Do not neglect to do good and to share what you have, for for such sacrifices are pleasing to God. This idea is to do not neglect to do good. Now, don't neglect to help others. Don't neglect to serve others. He said, and to share what you have. That can be monetary or physical things that we carry with us every day, those things that we have extras of. But there's something in here that we miss quite a bit of the time. He said that is the fruit of the lips that acknowledge his name. That willingness to share that gospel that we have been given. That willingness to speak to others, that willingness to stand before others and proclaim the greatness of God. That's true. That becomes that which is fragrant to God. It's when we begin to do his complete will. When we start to give over and we begin to show others and tell others about this Christ, about a God that loved them and sent his son to die on that cross, that we might have the forgiveness of sin, that we might have an eternity with him, to share with others that which we have. But I ask that you would think about this. I would so hope that you would come to Dora, to church this weekend if you have that chance. Uh, it is that I will be talking about this aroma, that aroma that is pleasing to God, in hopes that those who would care would come and listen and hear the word that He has spoken. I want to thank you for being here, and may God bless.